Hello, welcome to the OMEGAMON for Db2 training session. Today I want to dive a bit deeper into the situation management take action capabilities, showing specific Db2 use cases, which we have learned from other customer sessions. There's a need to provide a bit more details. My name is Norbert Jenninger, and I have built the material together with my colleague Christoph Theissen and Jim Wonkowski. Before we discuss a couple of take action scenarios, I want to discuss shortly the differences between exception and situation within OMEGAMON Db2, followed by a quick repetition of how to create a situation, and then going into the 4 take action scenarios, as you can read below from my agenda. You often heard about exception processing with highlighting, notifying or alerting. But you also might have heard about the term situation management. Actually, both allow you to get notified or alerted about certain status and behavior of your environment, system or application. Both uses the same way of sampling data and checking them against user-defined thresholds, or even rules of thresholds together with qualifications. But there is still a difference. Exception usually is more of the nature of critical or warning situation and need mostly special attention or potential additional post-processing analysis. Situation may be not necessarily critical, but you may want to react proactively, for example, to improve overall performance and throughput by doing changes to your system or application workload. For this purpose, the situation management has a feature which allows to automatically resolve certain status or behavior by execution of user-defined so-called take actions. Let me more specific how OMEGAMON Db2 supports both. Exceptions which are detected in real-time snapshot sampling can be highlighted on the real-time end-user interfaces in ENHANCE 3270, TEP Enterprise Portal Classic. Exceptions can also be reported in OMEGAMON Db2 batch reports based on collected Db2 SMF trace data record. For exception processing, you can define the thresholds together with qualification like plan name, auth ID, connection type, in order to define different thresholds for different workload. These thresholds are based on snapshot data sampling and usually checked when a certain real-time display or workspace is invoked. Now, situation management in OMEGAMON, on the other hand, is running in the background in a user-defined interval. Any detected situation can be reviewed on both end-user interface, the ENHANCE 3270 UI, and the TEP Enterprise Portal. In the TEP UI, those situations will also pop up with a colored flag, red, yellow, in the system tree from where you can zoom in. As already mentioned, situations can also be defined with additional take action, either executed automatically and unattended, or the end user can be prompted to select and execute predefined take actions. Besides having situations defined with its thresholds and rules within an OMEGAMON monitor product area, there's also the possibility to combine, to correlate situations across various OMEGAMON family products. For example, if an OMEGAMON for CICS situation and an OMEGAMON for Db2 situation both are true, then the correlated situation between both results in true, and it will fire a notification alert or even execute a take action. As you might know, OMEGAMON for Db2 has several end-user interfaces which provide slightly different exception and situation management support, from left to right. The strategic end-user interface and TEP Enterprise Portal web browser are sharing the same ITM infrastructure, ODI tables and attributes. Exception thresholds in ENHANCE 3270 for highlighted fields are saved in the RTE library member and can be adapted with ISBF edit. Exception thresholds for highlighting in TEP can be defined directly in the properties of the TEP Enterprise Portal workspace. Situations defined are shared one-to-one and they are saved in a common ITM infrastructure. They can be defined and controlled in both end-user interfaces. The classic UI keeps the threshold at a separate place and can be adapted via specific classic panel commands. The threshold in all three end-user interfaces are checked and highlighted each time if a user refreshes the display or navigates to another panel. Now, the Performance Expert Client GUI on the right hand side of the slide allows to define for each user to have its own dataset of threshold definitions, which can be added and it is saved on his PC. For exception processing, the threshold dataset is forwarded to the host data collector started task, where it is executed under the end user's authority. Means several end users can run their own exception processing in parallel. The Performance Expert Client user can define certain processes like Db2 trace collection, which can then be started by the data collector started task automatically if it detects a user-defined exception. Those exception alerts can be optionally be rerouted to an user exit, which does per default out of the box a WTO on the console. And finally, we have the OMEGAMON for Db2 ISPF dialog, which is working close together with the OMEGAMON for Db2 batch reporting. The ISPF dialog allows to define thresholds in a TSO dataset, like the PE client threshold dataset, which can be used for the data collector automatic periodic threshold exception processing. Any alerts can be reviewed in ISPF with look command or in the PE client under the specific user ID's authorization. This ISPF created and edited threshold dataset can also be used in batch accounting and statistic reporting to show exceptions only or as part of a full report in exception report block. This slide shows the architectural perspective with the various user interfaces on the right and the left hand side. We will concentrate today in this session on the blue circled ones, the Enhanced 3270 and the TEP Enterprise Portal. But before we are going into the specific take action use cases, let's shortly repeat the way how to create a situation in both the TEP Enterprise Portal and the Enhanced 3270 UI. I'm showing on the left the steps in TEP Enterprise Portal and on the right side the equivalent steps in the Enhanced 3270 UI. So first, open the situation editor. Second, click to open and to name the new situation. On both you can click the plus sign in front of the MVS Db2 to expand the list of already predefined situations which you can adapt or use and copy to create new ones. Here we will create just a complete new one. Be sure that you have the correct monitoring application MVS Db2 selected. There is a choice between standard and correlation situation type. We will use here the standard situation, which is the most used one. The correlated situation is used if you want to correlate two standard situations, like we have shortly discussed a couple slides ago on slide 5. For example, OMEGAMON CSS situation correlated with the OMEGAMON for Db2 situation. Next, you are asked to select an attribute group, a table, and within the attribute group, an attribute item, a table column. In the TEP Enterprise Portal, you can select several attributes while keeping the Control key pressed and confirm finally with a click on OK. In the Enhanced 3270 UI, you can select several attributes on the same page, press Enter, it will show yes in the selected columns, before you page down or up. Finally, Accept on the top in the Selection Condition subpanel. Next, you can adapt the sampling and checking interval, starting with a minimum of 30 seconds. Run at startup is another criteria which you can adapt. Default is yes, but you can deselect and start later the situation manually. How to do this, we will see this a couple slides later. Then you have to define the values for the selected attributes. The TEP Enterprise Portal, you click on the entry field below the attribute title column. Values in the same row are handled as end condition, in different rows handled as OR condition. In Enhanced 3270 UI, use an S in front of the formula row. Continuing in the Enhanced 30-70, enter an E in front of each attribute value, select function, the operator, and the value. Click on Accept. After you have edited all values, finally click on top of the Situation Formula panel. Click Accept to confirm the edit in the Formula tab. Next step on both UIs is to define on which system the situation should be started and executed. Therefore, go to the Distribution tab and select with an S in front in Enhanced 30-70 the system. Either selecting MVS Db2 from Manage Subsystem Group means it should be valid for all your systems in this group, or select only a specific subsystem out of the management system list. The selected ones will show up in the assigned list box on the left, respectively on top in the Enhanced 30-70. Finally, conclude the situation definition with click OK in TEP Web Enterprise Portal, and Enhanced 30-70 switch back to the Formula tab, where you have to click on OK. After you finish the creation of a new situation, you can manage, edit, adapt, or extend this new situation or any other existing situations. On the tab, just right-click on the selected situation in the left-hand list of situations. On Enhanced 30-70, you might have to expand first the MVS Db2 list of situations with click on the plus sign, and then select the situation with a forward slash in front of the selected situation. As you can see on the context option menu, there are start and stop commands for a situation. For example, you can use these if the run at startup was deselected, or if you want explicit stop and restart one. On the top of the panel there are additional tabs. The Expert Advice and the Advice tab can be used to enter a free format text. The Action tab leads to the main subject of Take Action on this presentation, respectively also in my second video part with live demos. Let's just take already in this video the first Take Action sample, issue a console command. Assuming you want to inform someone about a specific situation, critical or non-critical, with a message which should appear on the system console. The message should have best an eye catcher in front of the text to allow identifying who created the message and or to allow to forward them to the appropriate person or to be used in system automation. We're using in our sample the log system command, but other system commands will work too, like the SE system command or even any Db2 commands. So first, open the situation and select the Action tab. Second, put a S in front of the command entry field in the System Command subwindow. And third, now to start to enter your text with character L and a space followed with the whole text in quotes. There are maximum 121 characters allowed. If you enter the text, you can merge current situation variable values into your text. To do this, click on the Attribute Substitution button on the lower right corner. In the following panel, you can select the attribute group and the attribute item which should be merged into your text. Best you have a space between your free text and the selected attributes. Just a note, the attribute values have a special character in front at the end of the attribute, which depends on your code page you're using. In US code page, those will be curly brackets. Finally, click on Accept on the Action tab, go to the Formula tab and click OK to finalize your change. With this, I will conclude my first video part. Thank you for watching, and I am looking forward to see you again for my second video with additional exciting take action use cases and shown in live demos.